me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance. You could take a look in a book, that's fine. Or you could sit back, relax, and unwind and read me romance. Read me romance.
Welcome back, lady listeners.
Hey, lady listeners! We are super excited about this week at Read Me Romance because we have Abby Knox with us. Yay! She's brought us a new book. It's called Reckless in Ruins. It's got a guy in a kilt on the cover. What else do you want to know?
All of the covers in this series are really pretty.
Yes,
I was putting them up on the website. I was like, oh, I really like these.
Yeah, I do too. I love this whole series. It's part of the Reckless Royals. So that's like the series that it's in. This is just a short story. She has a little thing on here that says, for readers familiar with the series, this is a short story about Uther, the head of palace security, and Sable, the palace stylist, which I just thought was so cute. So it's such a good idea and I love it. I'll read everything about her in just a little bit. But Abby and I actually had breakfast together this morning, and she's such a good friend to just message and say, hey, do you want to meet Wednesday or Thursday for breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I need that, Yeah. I'm really bad about, as much as I love my friends and I like seeing them and spending time with them, if they ask me to do something, I try to always say yes. Or if I can't that moment, I try to say, I can't today, but I can this day, and make a point to do that. But if I have an excuse, I usually will take that out and I won't like make myself do it when I need it so much more than I need to do whatever it is that I was going to do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's just, I can't really even blame it on like a change in season because it's been going on longer than like a few months. But it seems like I'm just kind of in a rut lately with like just work and balancing the kids and home and the family and stuff. I just feel like I'm just in like, I don't want to say like I'm depressed because I don't feel like it's that, that heavy or anything.
It's
but
just
it
monotonous.
Yeah, it is. And with writing and stuff, like I love writing. I love the books that we write and what we do. But I feel like more often than not lately, I am having to like force myself to sit down and get the words out, because there's times when they come so much easier than others, especially like, when we're writing a story that I'm really excited about and I really like the characters, it just comes out and I don't even have to think about it, Yeah. But there's other times when, and even if I do love the story, there's just sometimes it's just so hard and I don't know why, and I don't know what it is.
Things change. I mean, I've noticed over the last like 6 months, it's really hard, and I've never had this problem before, to start.
Yeah.
Just to start. I don't know why I get anxiety about it. I'm like, I'm going to sit there and this is going to come out. I get like such anxiety about it. I've been doing this forever, and this just started. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. This is our 10th year publishing.
Jesus.
So I know, right? So it's strange. And it's funny too, because I guess it's not funny, but it's ironic that you and I seem to experience it at the same time, and I've noticed too in our relationship with writing and stuff and working together that a lot of times it's like we sync up. And I don't know what it is. Did you start your period today too?
No. I got a few weeks, thankfully.
Okay. I was like, at what point does menopause kick in? When do I'm about to be 43. Okay. I just need my eggs to give the fuck up. But yeah, it feels like a lot of times with what we do, it feels like we sync up. And so I don't know like what it is where we're both in this state of it.
I felt a little better this week. I've been walking outside instead of on the treadmill. And today when I was actually walking outside, I noticed that I was like singing along to the music and kind of bouncing.
That's nice.
And so I was like, oh, I must be more energetic or something.
Yeah.
Or something. So I don't know if that's helping.
Maybe so.
Getting outside, fresh air.
I think you're right because, I was telling you earlier about I was outside and I about had a heat stroke because it was so fucking hot and humid. It was 87 with like 100% humidity. I was like, it's only May, simmer down, But I will say the little bit I was out there before that, I just enjoy the sunshine. I was like, when was the last time I was outdoors? It was kind of like a shock to my system. And then I had a headache all day afterwards. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the time of year or whatnot, but it did this morning when I went to breakfast with Abby. She and I always have, it's weird. We have heavy talks, even though our time is sometimes short together. I think because we've both gone through therapy, we both, we're really open with the subjects that we talk about with our, our families and our work and everything and our relationships. We're both really open about it. So whenever we talk, I always feel like if someone on the outside were listening, they'd just be like, wow, because it's all like, it's usually really heavy stuff. But again, it's so nice to have her as a friend, that the type of friend where I can just unload,
Yeah, everybody's got like different friends for different things. It seems like.
Yeah.
Or you talk about different things.
For sure. And with her, it always feels like there's a lot of, not to toot my own horn, but I've been in therapy almost 4 years now. And, but it's good because I do feel like it's emotional vulnerability, but it's also, I don't know how else to say it other than like, it's mature, or I guess, or it's emotionally intelligent. I would say, like, when we talk about stuff. So yeah, I mean, I really like that about our friendship, and I like that we have the ability to do that. And also that we were leaving the restaurant and she was telling me something, and I was like, wait, get in the car. I forgot I got to take my dog to the groomer. And I was like, just get in the car with me. And she was like, okay. And she just got in. And I was like, come on, we're running errands. And then I took her to Walgreens. I was like, hang on, I got to pick up my prescription. I was like, you're just running errands with me now. But those are the best kind of friends too, where you can just say, get in the car, I got shit to do, and you're going to be with me and talk to me while I do it. So yeah, I love that.
I haven't been seeing a therapist lately, but I am a therapist on Reddit to people.
You saving marriages left and right. I need to know an update on the girl with the Discord email.
She deleted her whole profile, probably because she didn't want it up. It was probably like a sad thing.
Yeah. Maybe
fuck this. We had this fight. I don't want to relive it.
Yeah, probably so.
But maybe sometimes I'm not a great therapist. Like sometimes I'm like, you should fuck his dad. I get one girl today. She was like, he called somebody beautiful, but I know he was just being nice. I was like, you should call everybody handsome from now and see what he does. She's like, well, I'm trying to be. I think he was just trying to be nice, and I was just taking it too. And Karen was like, sometimes you just have to choose violence.
Yeah, maybe that is good therapy, though. Maybe some women need to hear that.
I'm like, sometimes I'm great, and other times I'm like, no, what else? We're gonna do some shit.
Yeah, let's fuck some shit up. Let's be petty. It feels good in hell. Let's go all the way to hell.
Telling people to do something like, how do I know if you did this? I was like, well, you can look up this by this and this, and if you online here. And you can actually get a lot of information online. So if you
Yep. What's that saying? Like, when they go low, we go high. It's like when they go low, I go even lower. I go straight to hell, baby.
It depends on the situation.
Yep. Yeah. Fuck him up. Fuck his dad. I love it.
I'm very emotional with sex, so I don't know if I could do that, but I would like, if like somebody fucked my friend, I'm gonna fuck your friend. I'm gonna fuck all of your friends. Actually, I may not even I may not even fuck them. I may just let them go down on me or something. I'll make out with them and they go down on me. I will leave. Like,
oh my God.
Great orgasm.
Carla posted this. It was like this thread thing the other day where it said, fellas, what have you done for a good pussy? This is the safe space. And this guy said, he said, turned in my homie, got him sent to jail for 6 years. So he could fuck his girl. He said, then he got out. He said, it was good while it lasted. I was like, holy shit.
He didn't marry her after that? Jesus.
He was like, she stayed with him. He was like, I was a side piece. I was like, oh my God. That was hot. I was like, that sounds like a romance waiting to happen. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you about. The Met Gala, whatever. It was on Monday, I guess. And all the pictures.
I'm so stupid. I just remembered something about it.
What?
Go ahead. All the pictures. I seen the pictures and I was looking at some of them and I thought that, and I only realized it a few days ago. I thought the cardigan that Kim Kardashian on was photoshopped and everybody was fucking with everybody, like, because she wore a cardigan, like, for Taylor Swift or whatever. But it was real.
Well, I heard that it was.
It goes with the design. Yeah, an artist.
No, but it wasn't supposed to, she wasn't supposed to be wearing it.
Yes, it was. I seen the artist. Yeah, I seen the artist.
Oh, okay.
It was inspired by it. Like, after that, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I went and I seen the artist that it inspires by, and his, like, last season actually had the girls in those formal dresses with these tight cardigans on there. They even have to, like, stand like this. As much as I don't, like, care for her, when I seen his image, I was like, oh, wow, she did that really well.
Okay, because I was wondering if that was supposed to happen. I thought she said her dress broke, and that was why she had to have it, or something, or she couldn't, like.
I'm gonna find the image and I'm gonna show it to you.
Yeah, okay.
Even she committed it so much that even her heel didn't have her shoe didn't have a heel.
Oh God!
So she was walking on high heels without a heel.
I don't know how her waist was that small. That's like sickening.
She like waist trains.
Yeah, but it was like 6 inches. That was terrifyingly small.
I bet she couldn't step up the steps, I noticed. They had to like help her.
There was the one girl that was wearing the sand dress. Did you see that one? It was like made out of sand or whatever. It was like tan colored, and it was like molded to her body. It was beautiful. Oh my God, it was so hot. But there's a video of her. She can't make the step or whatever. She can't step up. So there's a couple of attendants that come over, and there's a guy that's standing in front of her, and he's doing like this with his hands. He's like in front of her, and he's like, and he's not touching her. And then all of a sudden he just looks, he was like, leans close, and he was like, can I touch? Oh, is it okay if I touch? And it was like he was so nervous to touch her. He didn't know where to put his hands safely, and so he asked her, he was like, can I put my hands here? And she looks at him, she was like, oh yeah. And so he like puts his hands on her and picks her up. But like there's a moment when he's flustered and he doesn't know what to do, and she kind of smiles at him, and I was like, that was so fucking hot. Like, that was so hot. I was like, it was the hottest thing ever. And I was like, that's a romance book waiting to happen. That moment right there.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even hot at all. He kind of looked like Taika Waititi, but not in a hot way at all. He just looked really dorky. But he was just so nervous. His hands kept going. His palms kept like hovering over her waist and like going up and down. He's like, he was like, can I touch you? It was so funny. I know, it was really cute.
But I seen that because I watched the Tom Brady roast, and Kim was at the next Uther.
I saw that.
They cut it out of the net. Like, if you go to watch it now, they cut it out. But I seen it. They booed. Somebody had to tell everybody to be quiet.
To stop booing him or her?
Kim Kardashian.
I saw he said up there on stage, he said something about her. He said she's terrified to be here. And he said, and it's not because of me, it's because her kids are at home with Kanye. And I was like, ooh.
No, her jokes are pretty good. She took them pretty good. But like I said, I think she was like, when she walked up on stage and like the crowd just booed.
Why though?
Honestly, I think everybody's mad at her.
Why though?
All the Swifties are so mad. They're so booing her and everything. Like, all of her comments are still shit. All over everything. They're like, where's our apology? Where's our apology? And she won't give it.
What's an apology for? I don't know any of this.
Oh, that's a long story.
Okay, it's fine. I don't need to know the history. I don't know if there was like a comment she made or something.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing. She lied on her.
No, I don't know.
Her and Kanye.
Oh.
Released a video and stuff.
I don't know. Okay. Well, that makes sense then. Well, I don't know. I just wondered like why they were doing it, but it is what it is. But the Met Gala in general, there were so many beautiful dresses, but there wasn't anything that like blew my face off that there usually is. There's usually a couple of dresses where I'm like, holy fuck, those are and there were some beautiful people that had really pretty dresses on, but it wasn't like just over the top crazy. There was some really good stuff. But there was this one lady, she's a model, and she was wearing like Swarovski, like the crystal dresses or whatever. It was like a cat suit kind of thing she was wearing. Oh my God, she was flawless. She looked so good. But one of the women I saw was Vera Wang, you know, who does like wedding dresses and the designer.
She always looks so young for her age.
She looked like the crypt keeper. I mean, like, I am not trying to hate on her, but is Vera Wang okay? Somebody go check on her. She looked like she weighed 43 pounds.
Or maybe I'm thinking of Valentino. No.
Donatella Versace?
No, not her.
Nope. I was like, I don't think you'd get confused with her looking wonderful or young. No, but Vera Wang, she looked frightening. I don't know what happened and since the last time I saw her, but I literally saw her on the carpet and I was like I gasped. But
I didn't pay much attention to it because not that many people I thought was going that I was interested in.
Yeah, I mean, there were some people I really wanted to see. I love that Queen Latifah was there with her partner. She actually, I don't know if this was like her coming out because I feel like she's been sort of out, but maybe it's just like official confirmation to have her partner there with her and walk the red carpet with her. So that was like a really cool moment to see that. And then I always love seeing Serena Williams with her sister Venus. I love them so much, and seeing them together, that was really cool too. So, and I like seeing Lizzo. And I
didn't like her dress.
I didn't love the headpiece. I liked the dress. I didn't love the headpiece. Just like with Kerry Washington, I loved her dress. It's, if you haven't seen it, go look at it. It's floral, but it's just stunning. It's this gorgeous, like deep purple color.
Like Sleeping Beauty or something?
It was like it was Beauty Awakened or something like that. It was basically like Spring Awoken. I don't know. It was flowers basically. But I didn't like, but Kerry Washington's hair was not great, and it reminded me of Lizzo's. They both had that like 90s, like really short. They had wigs, but they were like super short, and it was wet looking, and I just didn't love it.
The wet look is really in.
But Kerry Washington's dress was gorgeous. It was so pretty. But again, it could have been any event. It didn't feel like the Met Gala to me. You know, all their dresses were like red carpet dresses. It wasn't like artistic. There was only a couple of those where I felt like they were just super wowed. But and I also really liked Elle Fanning's dress because it had the birds that came off of it. And again, it was the wet look where her dress looked wet and it looked like the birds were made of water. That would have been cool because they were like coming out of her dress. It would have been cool if there was like 50 of them. You know, if it was like all these birds coming out of her, if they moved or like something, you know, like. But I always really look forward to Cardi B because she usually does it up. And this time, her dress was magnificent, but it was all black. And it just kind of got lost. Like the details of the dress, I think, got lost. And just it being all monochromatic with her, like the headpiece that she wore and the dress at sleeve, billowing frills. Like it was so much material. It was like a mile long. And it was all black. So I felt like there was, you know, obviously I'm no designer, but I felt like that was kind of a missed opportunity.
Like some people can do the wet look and some people can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. If you watched it this year, let us know what your favorite dresses were, because I always love doing that. I always love hearing what other people's favorite dresses were. So.
You know what we haven't talked about, and I've noticed neither one of us have mentioned it?
What?
Is that like Britney Spears is off the rails?
You know what? I think about her every day. I really do. When I go through Instagram, I'm like, there's our girl living her life. And she is. And you know what? I'm not saying that she should be under conservatorship. I don't think she should be. I think some people just live life more erratically than others. And Britney Spears does not have the luxury to live erratically peacefully.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the disconnect is. And it's like, I don't think she should have her rights and her choices taken away from her because she's not harming anyone else. I don't know necessarily that she's not harming herself. Maybe. I mean, I hate that she doesn't have anybody in her life that she can trust.
I know.
That will look out for her. But that's about her family's own design.
I know.
So, like, it's a shitty situation in the fact that she doesn't have somebody looking out for her, but she does not need someone in charge of her. I don't think anybody necessarily should be forced into that.
No, but like I always said, I
Without
always just
accountability.
and maybe they already did it. If I could just get a lucid, medicated moment for you to be like, I don't want to be medicated, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But like I want that response on a like evil, loving filled, you're good to tell me that. I'm like, all right, good. Go with it.
Yeah. And I can't imagine not knowing what it's like to live in your body without medication because you've been forced it for so long and all the drugs they had her on and stuff. I can't imagine what that feels like. And it's probably so overwhelming for her right now that she's just feeling so overwhelmed by all the emotions all of the time because she's not being, drugged up.
I could imagine it because I could always try to think of it like when I need Xanax. Like I hate Xanax, but I know I need it sometimes. So I sometimes wonder if that's what it's like, where it's like this bitter pill. You're like, I need it because it does this for me, but then you're like, I don't want to do it. And then happen to have that battle between something. But I couldn't imagine if without it, I was like, whoa. Yeah. To where I'm just like, I can't sleep and I'm anxious. I couldn't imagine that times 100 and having to balance that scale.
And if, you know what, if Britney Spears was any other person, it wouldn't matter that she was like,
or if she was just a man. I mean, they haven't got
you got that right. You got that fucking right. I'm just saying, like, if she was a lady that lived down the street that like filmed herself on Instagram dancing and talking weird and making weird posts, I'd just be like, oh, that's crazy old, Marie down the street, like having a good time with her cats and her little puppies out in the backyard singing to her chickens. You know what I mean? Like, if it was anybody else, we wouldn't care. But it's the fact that, it is a woman. It's Britney. It's, it's someone that we all probably either idolized or fetishized at some point in our life. So to see her not how we have experienced her, we all make assumptions about people that are famous, and we have been branded with a narrative of Britney Spears our entire lives, the narrative that her father wanted us to see. We've all been branded with this. And now that she is outside that box, people want to put her back in it because they're not comfortable with her being outside of it. But it's not up to us to have our comfort level met. It is up to her to live her life how she wants to. And even if that feels weird for us, and even if it looks like she's crazy to us, it's dismissive of her getting to make those choices for the first time in her life. And that's what infuriates me when I see people make snide comments like, see, this is what she's like without a conservatorship, when she, like TMZ said something the other day about her breaking her foot or whatever. I know. And all the people are commenting on it like, oh, you wanted to free Britney. This is free Britney. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is Britney free. This is part of it. Let her
I do all kinds of shit, and I'm totally lucid.
Right?
I'm downstairs.
Like, I break shit all the time. TMZ doesn't cover it. I'll start sending it to him. All right, let's talk about Abby Knox. We've bullshitted enough today. Right. Abby Knox writes, feel good, high heat romances that readers have described as quirky, sexy, adorable, and hilarious. Abby lives in North Carolina, down the road from me, with her family where she enjoys baking, knitting, smothering her plant babies, and watching the birds and the bees. I'm also trying to convince her right now to take one of these kittens out here on my porch.
Oh, does she not have a cat?
She has one already. I'm trying to get, she only has one. I'm like, you need to do your share and take one more.
Aren't they a set though?
I know, but one of the ladies I know wants the girl. And I'm like, I don't want to split them up, but she can't take more than one. So I'll split them up if they can both go to a home at the same time.
Okay.
So they're not alone. So anyways, we're going to listen to Reckless and Ruins. I'm going to read you the blurb for that. And then I have lots of good stuff to say. Protecting the queen is my only job, and I'm the best at it. Lately, though, the one woman has destroyed my indestructible focus, Sable. Even her name renders me unable to think of anything but how soft she might feel against me. The palace stylist insists on pestering me about measurements and uniforms, but the more I dismiss her, the bolder she becomes. When she finally takes things a step too far, she threatens to push me right over the edge. Reckless in Ruins is a short story related to the Reckless Royals series. The story centers around Sable, the palace stylist, and the chief of palace security, Uther. Both characters have been mentioned throughout the series, and there was a little hint in the book 3, Wild Prince, that she was crushing on him. There's an implication that Uther won't give Sable the time of day, but we find out in this podcast story that he's secretly obsessed with her, that he can't focus on his job. He just refuses to act on it. In the podcast story, Sable tracks him down under the pretense of getting his measurements for a new uniform, and he snaps. The podcast story takes place in the timeline where Sigurd from Wild Prince has gone missing. In Book 5, Stolen Crown, it's revealed to the royal family that Uther and Sable are together. Here's the series info. Reckless Royals is a tropey, soapy, swoony, and sexy collection of happily ever after romances. It's got everything. Bad boys, grumpy, gorgeous heroes, sweet but strong heroines, arranged marriages, divorce pacts, marriage pacts, and lots of surprises along the way. It's all packed into one royal family with 5 standalone stories to tell. 5 standalone stories. No cheating, no cliffhangers. 5 separate HEAs with epilogues, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. I don't know what else you could possibly want, but all of this. We'll have the reading order down in the show notes so you guys can see if you want to see the order of the books they go in. But this one is perfect to like have as a companion story if you want kind of an introduction to this series, but you can jump into all of them on here. But she has a brand new book that's out May 30th. It's called Stolen Crown. It's a forbidden romance, and she'll have the pre-order up for that, so make sure you check that out. The first 3 books are available in paperback on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But if you order signed copies from her website, you get like free stickers and swags and everything with it. So go to abbyknox.com and check that out. Her other new release is Filthy Chef. It's a standalone that's out May 14th. So that's now. You can grab that. The hero Jason is a chef / restaurateur mentioned in Are You For Real and in Hail Mary. So if you've read either of those books and you want to know about Jason, this is his story. So that's our brand new release. And then Are You For Real will be available as a free download via BookFunnel this week. If you subscribe to Abby's newsletter, you'll get it for free. It's one of several sweet and spicy romances she has set in the Great Lakes, and it's one of her favorite series. It's a big one-sided nemesis trope. I love that one so much. Oh my God, she was telling me about this. Are You For Real? It's like this guy thinks that they're like, and I think that's how the setup is. I think it's the guy thinks that they're like enemies, and she like is totally like just happy-go-lucky, like has no idea that this is happening. Like it's so cute. I was like, why? I need to write that down as a specific trope. One-sided nemesis, where it's like one person thinks they're enemies and the other one has no clue. I was like, that's adorable.
That would be really funny.
I know, right? So she said his parents love her before the hero and heroine even meet, which I love that too, where it's like the guy who thinks they're enemies, his parents adore her, and he's like even more pissed off about it. It says it contains a scene where he eats her out on top of and through her underwear. She was like, I don't know what kink that is, but I do that a lot, where like the heroes eat her out over her underwear. I was like, yeah, that's hot. I love that. Let's see. Free right now, free with no strings attached is Big Bad Love. It'll be free on Apple, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Everland, Smashwords, and everywhere else. And she is giving away this week a free signed book plus swag. Let's see, extras. On her website, she has an ebook shop where she's adding books as they roll out in Kindle Unlimited. They're available for direct downloads. Oh, and also check out her page, Abby Bites. That's on author abbyknox.com. That's her website. Just go there. But look under the tab Abby Bites. She's got like a couple of she's got one new one on there, but she's got a couple of books. One is The Alien's Nurse. And that's a lactation book with 2 penises.
I keep to check those out, actually.
Yeah. So the alien's nurse it's a lactation kink, and then he has 2 penises and uses both of them. I was like, I like the sound of that. Trapped by My Vampire Professor is like a snowstorm with blood paint and it's professor student. And then Monster in My Closet, that's the one that's so good. She said it's exactly what it sounds like, plus lots of jizz. On August 16th, she's attending Meet Me in Milwaukee book signing. So if you're going to be attending Meet Me in Milwaukee, you can meet Abby Knox there. And and she did say that I know she sent me a ton of stuff on here, but I love that she gave us so much to talk about. One of the things that she wanted to mention was Cuffed in Chicago. And she said, I know there's a lot of author discussion right now about since the book signing that we talked about last week happened.
When's Cuffed in Chicago?
It happened already. So that was the one that she went to a couple weeks ago, but they're doing it again next year. And she said, I just want to shout out Cuffed in Chicago. This is my first one outside of the small one we did together at the Editions bookstore here. So this is her first like big signing. It was fabulous. She said it was small with less than 30 authors, I believe, but it was very professionally done. Everyone was so kind and helpful and welcoming, super organized, and a lot of fun people. She said also for any BIPOC authors who might be wary of like cons and signings, like conventions and signings. She said this one has a woman of color in a leadership position. There are also many BIPOC authors, bloggers, and creators who attended this one. She said next year's event, they're rebranding it next year. It's not going to be called in Cuffs in Chicago. It'll be called Lucky and Lombard, which is like a suburb of Chicago. So I guess it wasn't like in Chicago this time, so they didn't want to confuse people.
It's Chicago.
Yeah, it's like maybe I think like she said like maybe 40 minutes from downtown. But Lucky and Lombard will be the name of it next year, but it's like there in Chicago. And she said I highly recommend it for any readers or romance authors in that region. And then she put the Facebook link up, and then we can post that in the show notes. So
I like Chicago, not the Chicago Bears. I just wanted to clarify that.
You just want to make that extra clear. Do you like the Eagles?
Other Bears.
You like the Eagles? Is that what you
said? I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, I like them. Okay. You're still Packers for life, though, right? Like that. Go Packers. Yeah, you have to now. But yeah, so but no, she had nothing but great things to say about that signing. So yeah, it's Lucky and Lombard is what they're calling it for next year. I think they're gonna try to rebrand with that. So be on the lookout for that. And like I said, everything will be down in the show notes, so make sure you check all that out. But I know that's a lot.
This is Reckless in Ruins by Abby Knox, read for you by James Amherst. Chapter 1. Uther. My top security officer has bad news for me. Apprehension clouds Edgar's face as he exits the Bentley, carrying a letter from the palace. I zero in on the Queen's telltale stationery. The officer's stride battles against the stiff sea wind sweeping over the grassy cliff, giving me time to remove any trace of shock from my face. My men never see me appearing shocked, or worried, or any other emotion. I am the unflappable Captain Uther Nancarrow, the silent minder, head of palace security and the tireless bagman for the Queen. The public see me as nothing but solely focused on the royal family of Gravenland, and that letter changes nothing. Not until I open it. I move into the shadow of the ancient stones to stave off the battering wind. Edgar hands me the letter. This is it. I'm fired. My years of unquestioning service to the protection and service of Queen Hilda are about to come to an end. Strange that the Queen would choose now and not the end of my shift. Have I been so derelict in my duties she needs to replace me immediately, in the middle of a security sweep ahead of a royal engagement? From the palace, sir? I rarely feel the urge to engage with sarcasm with one of my men. I resist that urge now, and simply thank Edgar before opening the letter. Edgar stands there expectantly for a moment, as if I might share the contents of this missive with him. You're dismissed. Yes, Captain, he says, his voice cracking. He leaves for the Bentley at the speed of someone being shot from a cannon, eager to avoid dressing down. At first glance, the Queen's handwriting seems shaky. Dear Uther, it has come to my attention that you've missed 3 fittings with the palace stylist. Please make arrangements to meet with Sable today without delay. I squint at the lettering. An ordinary citizen would immediately recognize the Queen's sweeping S, the slash with which she crosses her T's. But I am not an ordinary citizen. This is forgery. This letter did not come from Queen Hilda. I know exactly which persistent person wrote this. Only one employee at the palace would dare try to get my attention this way, fearless of being put in handcuffs. That insufferable woman. Inexplicably, Sable is unintimidated by me. She addresses me so haughtily with her red lips, while her judging eyes rake over my frame as if amused by my large, ape-like stature. No doubt she's thinking about dressing me up in something fashion-forward, as she does with the royal siblings. Well, I'm not one of her paper dolls. My traditional kilt and suit jacket is perfectly suitable to carry out my duties, as it has been for the security detail of generations before me. The palace stylist can't seem to take the hint that I don't need a change in uniform. Not for me, or for my men. Especially not from a woman with mocking eyes and a wry smile, who can't wait to get her hands on me, a peasant who rose through the ranks on his own steam and grit. Sable is so determined she's deluded herself into thinking she can get away with imitating the Queen, all in the name of fitting me in some dandy new color scheme to make the Queen's Secret Service stand out. What that tiny, flamboyant woman doesn't seem to realize is the entire point of security is to blend in. We're bodyguards, not backup dancers. Sweat forms on my brow just thinking about all this harassment. Still holding this ridiculous letter, I use the back of my hand to swipe at my forehead. Hell, the paper even smells like Sable. That scent she designed herself in some exclusive laboratory in Paris, or so I've gathered. The scent is an odd choice for a woman like her, conjuring images of rose petals and fresh bed linens. With her long lashes, pouty lips, and pushy attitude, I would have thought her perfume would be spicier, earthier. What the hell is wrong with you, Uther? Thinking about perfume now? Get your head in the game. With a snarl of frustration, I crush the letter in my hands. I stuff it into the leather sporin on my uniform kilt, stuffing it down, along with my feelings about the letter's author. I stalk toward the perimeter of Scaleside ruins, scanning the coastline for any signs of danger, any signs of possible threat to Her Majesty the Queen. How dare I let one tiny, annoying, beautiful woman wreck my concentration? How dare I allow anyone to interfere with my job? Walking the field helps me regain my focus. I'm grateful for the battering wind sweeping over the cliffs, knocking the nonsense and silliness out of me. Scaleside Ruins is a 2,000-year-old fortress that predates the influence of mainland Europe on this tiny island country. It is one of a few ancient sites in Gravenland that bears no mark from the centuries of rule from England, France, Germany, the Netherlands. Today, it's little more than a maze of stone staircases, a few damaged walls, a turret, and a sprawling stone foundation. As I sweep the grounds, I begin to feel restored. The connection to my ancestors girds me up. I am proud to serve a monarchy that aims to preserve this site for future generations. It doesn't look like much, but Scaleside Ruins was once one of many imposing structures that marked the territory of ancient tribes. Millennia of chieftains and warriors fought bloody battles on this hill, long before the Vikings and the Normans invaded. Ensuring everything is ready for the Queen's appearance here this morning doesn't take me long. The media area is cordoned off, keeping nosy reporters from damaging the precious remaining structures. I have 2 men at that location. A few members of the general public, mostly those whose work is related to historic preservation, have been invited to attend the ceremony. I have 1 man at that station for crowd control. The Queen will soon arrive, and I'll escort her personally to the podium on the site that is thought to be the site of a former great hall. Or in a courtyard, the debate amongst archaeologists continues. Luckily, that's not my job to know. I just have to ensure safety. When I'm sure all is ready for the public's arrival, I take a moment to appreciate the view of the North Sea from the top of the turret. The weather has taken its toll on this structure, and it seems that keeping random people away is the least of the Queen's worries. In fact, it's questionable whether I should even be up here myself, as the stone ledge of the round turret is hardly safe for the average tourist. I'm about to finish my security sweep before anyone spots me up here when I hear footsteps on the winding staircase below. Shit, I'm caught. Instinctively, I turn to the noise. No one is supposed to arrive for another 10 minutes. My hand goes to my sidearm and I barrel down the steps, intent on scaring the shit out of whoever this might be. A reporter? A wayward citizen? Yet another tourist bent on stealing something from a sacred site? I'm not having any of it. I fly around the corner and smack head-on into a short, black-caped woman who lets out a shriek of surprise. She loses her footing on the mossy steps, and, on instinct, I lunge. Pinning her to the stone wall, my shouting echoes in this dank space. This is a restricted area. You are detained by the order of Her Majesty the Queen. What is your name? The black-caped woman lifts her head, and the weak sunlight bleeding in through the gap in the stones catches on long, dark lashes and red lips. The same red lips that haunt my dreams every damn night. Chapter 2. Sable. I try to be silent as I follow Uther up the winding staircase. Silence is a tall order, especially when the man I'm following, flashes muscled thighs as he marches up ahead of me. The curse of a traditional black kilt. The strong legs are out there on display every day, his movements giving the barest hint at the soft hairs on his thick legs. Every sighting of Uther's knees turns my insides to jelly. Captain Uther Nancarrow is perfect in every way. And what do I do with perfection? I must create. I need to dress him. I swear I'm not trying to be creepy, but tailor's measuring tape does give a girl an excuse to get good and close. And now I'm face to face with the Queen's chief security officer, who pins me against the damp ancient stones. Oh dear, I didn't think this through. I didn't think any of this through. I can hardly breathe, and not because Uther's forearm, from elbow to wrist, presses against the length of my collarbone. The air catches in my throat in reaction to how absolutely lethal this man is up close. I've admired him from a distance for so long. Ever since I was promoted to the job as official stylist for the palace, I've been utterly fascinated by the tall, dark, silent man and the way he attends to the Queen's every need with care and unwavering devotion. It's like watching someone sweetly hover around a beloved grandmother. He fascinates me because, for one thing, not even the Queen's own children fuss over their mother this way. Likewise, Queen Hilda's attitude around her children is more like a captain steering a ship full of undisciplined sailors who need constant reminding of duties and decorum. But with Uther, she's different. I don't know what it is about him, but watching him with her does something to me. The way he fetches her handbag, walks next to her, pulls out chairs, holds doors, keeps the citizens from taking too much out of her. It makes me wish I was the Queen for one day, if only to feel that blanket of protection around me. What is that like? "Sable," he grinds out. "What are you doing here?" My stronger self urges me to gather my senses. "Speak, Sable. You know exactly why you came here. You're not intimidated by anyone. I'm just trying to get your measurements. I knew you'd be here. Uther's nostrils flare. My nipples tighten. This is a restricted site. So you've said, I say softly. I'm supposed to be sweeping the area for security breaches. I know that too, and in turn, why won't you let me do my job? What I need requires so little of your time. It feels good to challenge him. I'm slightly braver than I was a second ago. Uther's eyes widen as if he can't believe what he's hearing. Why don't I let you do your job? Madam, you cannot be serious. You have done nothing but interfere with my duties for weeks. You send email after email to my office. You make appointments without checking with my staff. I huff, pushing against his hold on me that might as well be a steel girder. Because you don't respond to my questions, so I had to be more proactive. You follow me around the palace, follow me to all the Queen's appointments, staring at me, watching me, trying to break me down. Break you down? Now I'm confused. I've seen the way you look at me. I know what you think of me in my shabby, old-fashioned uniform. I know I didn't grow up with money and connections to the palace. I know that when I open my mouth, I sound exactly like where I came from. I'm a simple man with simple needs, and I don't need to fit in with the aristocracy if it's all the same to you. I let out the breath I'm holding as I process all of this. Sir, the conclusions you jump to are truly breathtaking. I don't care where you're from. Your snobbery says otherwise. My snobbery? I've seen the way you look down your nose at me. I can't control the bewildered laugh that escapes me. That's a mean feat, considering I'm barely eye level with your chest. You know what I meant. I really do not, Captain. You taunt me, you pester me, you spend every waking hour attempting to get a rise out of me, up to the point of stalking me at a sacred site and forging a letter from the Queen. Oh, that. Maybe this is wrong of me, but I feel oddly satisfied that I've rankled this man so thoroughly. Well, I've learned how to act out for attention the honest way, from childhood trauma. The Queen sent that letter yesterday. That's why I'm here today, to finish the job so I can get started on the new guard uniforms. Quit lying. The standoff feels like an eternity, though it lasts scarcely more than a few seconds. Fine, it was me who sent the letter. Do you have any idea the consequences for impersonating a monarch? Actually, I don't. Because in no way is it possible that a law exists about something so preposterous. Am I mistaken, or does a smile pool at his lip? I can have you in front of a judge by lunchtime, Uther seethes. I circle my fingers around the girth of his tensed forearm and tug feebly. You can let me go. I'm not a physical threat, you know. You are a threat in every way possible. The wrinkles around his deadly cobalt eyes would be devastating if only I could get him to really smile at me. Those hands could have their way with me, ruining me for anyone else. His hard, flat mouth could destroy me in 7 different ways, and he sees me as a threat? You say that I taunt you, pester you, that I spent my waking hours trying to think of ways to provoke you. It's quite the opposite, sir. You spend an inordinate amount of time and energy avoiding me. It's you doing that. I'm simply carrying out palace duties the same as you, and if I'm not wrong... I pause to study the gentle bags under his fierce gaze. I'd say you're lying awake at night, obsessed by how much I annoy you. Chapter 3. Uther. Slowly, I release the arm that pins her to the wall, but I am no less outraged at her behavior. Are you finished? I ask. For now. Let me show you something. Not waiting for an answer, I turn and climb the stairs to the top of the turret, circled by a waist-high, crumbling ledge. Sable follows me, and I study her face as she scans the sea in the distance, then turns toward the mountains, the forest, and the capital city's distant skyline. "It's breathtaking up here," she comments. Forgetting myself as the diffused sunlight hits her pink cheeks, I lean against one of the precariously loose stones. It tumbles and falls, crashing down to the mossy courtyard below. Sable gasps and runs to the edge, watching in horror. She turns to me in shock. "Why did you do that?" It was an accident, but I stupidly play it off for reasons I myself don't understand. "That," I say, pointing to the empty square in the ledge, "is as easy as it is to take a shot at the Queen if I'm not paying laser-focused attention." "Destroying historic property is hardly the visual demonstration you think it is," Sable says, squaring her shoulders, though she's showing signs of fear. Maybe now she'll leave me alone. I close in on her. "Do you want the Queen to die? Is that what you want?" I grit out. She steps backward, shaken. Her chin trembles. "No. My gods, what an awful scenario to think of." Her voice breaks, a sound that claws at my chest. "Well, I do think of it. I think about every awful possible scenario, every second of every day. That's my job, except now, these last weeks, I've been distracted. And do you know why?" "No," she answers. "Because I think only of you. You and your messages, your emails, your handwriting, your perfume. You have driven me to distraction, and one day it will cost us both. It could cost everyone in Gravenland everything we stand for." Sable's throat bobs, and the grey morning light shines in her wet eyes. Her lips part, but no sound comes out. She looks cold, and I resist the urge to remove my coat to offer it to her. I'm so sorry, Captain," she says, barely a whisper. She blinks rapidly as I step toward her, fright in her eyes as tears rain down her delicate cheeks. Bloody hell. Before I realize what the devil I'm getting myself into, I've cupped her face and swiped away those damn tears. "Stop your crying now, little Poppy." My words fall out in a heated whisper, my jaw tight. I take Sable's mouth roughly with mine, absorbing her surprised gasp. My brain catches up with my body and confirms, yes, I'm kissing this woman. Yes, it's wrong. Yes, I should send her packing and finish this security sweep. But damn, her lips on mine is the most electrified moment in years, maybe ever. Sable's lips are warm and soft as I sweep my mouth and tongue over them. Her tears wet my cheeks, and her gasping breath morphs into tiny moans against my mouth. Her small sounds of surprise turn me inside out with need. For weeks, I've been trying so hard to put her out of my mind. I've been denying the fact that one good, thorough kiss is what it will take to get this woman out of my system. Sable's curves feel dangerously good in my arms as she surrenders to the kiss. Her body relaxes, her lips part. I let go of her face, determined to end this kiss here and now, but I find my arms instead reaching out for her, pulling her frame against my chest. Her arms circle my shoulders, and I'm falling into a soft haze of pure temptation. I let my tongue slip inside her mouth, meeting hers. Her tongue. Gods, Sable's mouth is wickedly addicting. My mind reels with her heavenly scent, while at the same time the taste of her mouth and the soft breasts pushed against me threaten to drag me to hell. She tastes like fine champagne, stirring darker thoughts of spreading her open and drinking up every drop of her. I lick hungrily into her mouth, provoking a moan from her throat that makes my dick jump, straining against the heavy wool of my kilt. Nothing about this is getting her out of my system. What an absolute fool I am. Every lick, every touch, every breath, every brush of her lashes against my cheek only stokes the flames of need higher. Her moans pull me closer and closer to the edge. I fully claim her mouth, gripping her close, squeezing her in places where I shouldn't be squeezing, imagining things I shouldn't be imagining. The Queen's motorcade is waiting at the palace for my signal, but I'm keeping them all waiting because I have to have this. I have to have her. Sable. I imagined earlier that I was about to be fired, and now I'm manifesting that for myself. Our bodies are so close, I don't know if it's my heart pounding or hers that I feel. My hands roam down her back, seizing her fleshy hips, squeezing her there. If I leave now, I might still retain my job. I can blame what is sure to be my swollen red mouth on an allergic reaction to something. It takes all the strength inside me to pull away from Sable's kiss, and my body rages at the loss of contact. "Uther, what's wrong?" Sable blinks up at me, hurt written all over her face. It's the pretend hurt of a spoiled child who's never been told no in her life. She knows exactly what's wrong. Everyone calls me Captain, yet she feels free to call me by my first name when she wants to. It's utterly unprofessional. "Damn it, Sable," I seethe. "I've done nothing wrong, so don't start something you can't finish." My rumble of low laughter gets a come-hither look from her. She runs her palm over my stomach, daring to explore inside my uniform jacket. "You know what you've done to me," I rasp. She smiles that familiar, haughty smile. "What have I done, exactly?" I lean in, our mouths a whisper apart. "You want specifics?" Sable nods, then laughs. "Please, no more visual aids involving old stones." Covering her hand with mine, I guide her down to the front of my kilt. Her eyes go wide with wonder. Sable's swollen lips part. "This, madam, is what you've done to me, and you'll be taking it raw." Chapter 4. Sable. The shiver that runs down my spine is unreal. "Gods, yes! Please!" I sound like a frightened kitten, but my body screams for it. Uther, the most mysterious and eligible bachelor among the palace's staff, has an erection that could split rock in half. It's big, it's long, and it's all because of me. "Do you see? You see how difficult you are?" "On the contrary," I say, gazing up at him with confidence, even as my cheeks blaze with heat. "I'm quite easy if you just do things my way." I don't know if it's a growl, but some type of animal noise escapes him the moment before Uther's tongue goes to my mouth. I whine as he wrenches my hand free of his cock, and the next thing I know, I'm pressed against the stones, his erection nudging into my side. My body cries out for more. If he won't let me keep touching him, then I need him to touch me. My tight nipples ache. I take his hand and guide it under my cape, beneath the hem of my sweater. He knows what I want, and he forges onward, dragging that hand up, over my skin until he's cupping my breast. He groans into my mouth. "Sable." He sounds so angry at himself, and yet everything he does is wonderful. That large hand cages around my breast, squeezing through the material of my bra. His movements tighten my aching nipple even more. You shouldn't be doing this, he grinds out, his mouth blazing a hot trail down my jawline and descending down my throat. We shouldn't. We absolutely should. His reply is nothing but a grunt of surrender. Not bothering to unhook my bra, Uther hurriedly wrenches the band down and dips his head low. For the briefest of moments, the icy sea wind tweaks my suddenly bare nipples as his free hand lifts my sweater. The cold is then replaced by the protection of Uther's hot mouth. He's not a tentative lover by any means. Once he decides to taste my bare breast, he is all over me, switching from one to the other like a wild thing. He takes me into his mouth with long pulls, his tongue sweeping over my flesh, teasing me out until those buds grow so hard, making every inch of my skin feel so connected, I wonder if I might spontaneously come. And then my blood turns to lava as I feel Uther reach between my legs. I startle as his strong hand rucks up my skirt and finds its way to my thong. He snaps it against my flesh. Uther! This is a one-time thing. That's it, he says. My eyelids flutter closed at the sensation of his rough fingers exploring my pussy. Is it? I said what I said, madam, he insists, even as his fingers glide between my folds. Yes, Captain. My eyes still closed, I feel his mouth on my throat. His breath sends chill bumps over my skin as he speaks. You're so damn wet for me, aren't you, my flower? My voice breaks. Oh, I am lost for words. My only awareness is in the way he strokes inside me, sliding one thick digit into my slick cunt. He called me his flower, as if I'm a delicate thing, yet he provokes thoughts of how protective he is of the queen. I wish it were me he accompanied on walks. I wish it were me who this man guarded against the energy vampires of this world. Uther's ragged breath heats my ear as he whispers, I have one question. What's that? Do you taste as good as you smell? Do I, what? I'm far too focused on how turned on I am to comprehend what he's talking about. To my body's dismay, Uther slowly removes his worshipping fingers from inside my skirt. My eyes fly open, and I want to protest. The lack of contact nearly destroys me, and I shiver like a woman whose internal thermostat has inexplicably plunged to freezing. But then, I forget all about the frustrating fact that he's not diddling me anymore. I watch in fascinated shock as Uther slowly lifts his two moistened fingers to his parted lips and noisily sucks them clean. With our gazes locked, it feels as if he dares me to look away. My gods, how I soak myself, how I wish his mouth were on me, forcing me to ride his face. And? I ask. Without warning, that hand is clamped around my throat. Not hard, not squeezing, holding me in place, reminding me that I came to him and what he plans to do with me is punishment, in a way. His voice is lethal as he presses his mouth to my ear. Your honey is like no other. It could drive me mad. My body screams for him, but my voice is a squeak. Take all of it you want. Humor glints in his eye. Is it all for me, then? All for you, I say on a gasp. Embarrassed that I sound desperate, I wait for him to quickly end this, decide that this was a bad idea, and send me packing so we can get back to his very important work. I want him too much, and now he knows. But Uther doesn't end this moment. He goes deeper. On a curse, Uther lowers himself onto his knees. I gasp at the sensation of his hands reaching up under my skirt and squeezing my thighs, massaging them for a brief moment. You'll feel like you're falling, little Poppy, but I won't let you. What? Uther replies not with words. His head disappears under my knee-length skirt, and in the next moment, one of my legs is being hoisted over one beefy shoulder. Oh, I breathe, and that's about all I'm able to say for the next several minutes as the Queen's top guard flays me open with his mouth. Chapter 5. Uther. This impossible woman fills me in every possible way. Sable's plump cheeks overflow as I hold her body against me. Her hot stickiness pours into my greedy mouth. Her moans fill my head with longing to make her scream. Sable trembles as I trace my tongue along the seam of her sex. "Oh!" she gasps when I spread her lips open and inhale her scent. This woman, who seems to spend every minute of every day talking endlessly with everyone around her, who greets every moment with words, and more words, is finally speechless. I push my tongue inside and taste her sweet juice as Sable pushes forward, riding my face, demanding more. I hear her fingers scrambling for purchase on the ledge, on the fabric of her skirt. She finally rocks up the skirt and threads her fingers through my hair, making a mess of me. But I can't care about that now. How can I think about my appearance when this goddess's plump little leg is hooked tight over my shoulder? Her cries of pleasure clue me into what she likes and where, and I savor her as if I have all the time in the world. I cover her clit with my mouth and suck, even as I push one thumb inside her slick channel. Yes! Oh, yes! That's it. Come for me like a good little girl. Do as you're fucking told for once. Sable body seizes around me. A strange, animal wheeze is ripped from her throat as she comes. Fuck me, Uther! Her body shudders so sweetly, all I can think of is taking her to my bed and making that happen again. Oh, I intend to, little Poppy. I'm going to fuck you right now. That's what you came here for, isn't it? She stares up at me in wonder as I rise up to kiss her face, her cheeks flushed from her orgasm. Admit it, I tell her. Is this an interrogation, Captain? Sable asks weakly with a smile. This isn't time for games. Yes, I admit it. I followed you here because I wanted you. Is that what you want to hear? It is, and I need to be inside her. Now. Without another word, I kiss her deeply, sharing her taste with her. And then I give the order. Turn around and bend over the ledge. Sable follows orders so well, it hurts. I want to be fully facing her. I want her naked underneath me. I want to feel her bare breasts, want to taste and tease her nipples and make her beg for more. I want to lose myself in her, but we don't have that kind of time. My utility belt falls to the ground at my feet with a loud clank. Removing it gave a modicum of relief, but not enough. Spread your legs, little Poppy. Dropping her cape to her feet, she obeys. I drag my fingers up her thighs, slotting my hand in her crack. Her body jerks at the touch. My heart racing, I hike up my kilt and free my cock, pressing it against the split of her ass. Sable's small, sexy moans threaten to undo me. The pre-cum is already so far in the danger zone, it's close to becoming an earnest release. I press the tip between her lips, and she automatically pushes back. "Why do you call me Little Poppy?" Sable asks. Before I answer, I lube myself in her wetness, the friction intensifying her aftershocks and going straight to my ego. I already know this is not going to get her out of my system. If anything, I'm addicted. It's not until I thrust inside and she cries out that I give her an answer. She's so tight. Sable is so tight and perfect. I nearly forget the question. Hell, I can barely recall my own name. And then her fit around me changes me, invigorates me. Because you are small, yet the brightest thing in any room. I murmur into the flushed shell of her ear as I pull out and slam back in again. I continue, because your lipstick is redder than blood. I continue in this manner, reveling in the deep, thorough thrusts into a tight, welcoming hole. You're simple, but demanding, intoxicating, unmistakable, fiery, and absolutely, totally, fucking infuriating. Sable squeezes down so hard I might explode, and it takes everything in me to stay in the moment and not let go. Chapter 6. Sable. This man, Captain Uther, is often referred to by royal watchers as the Silent Minder. The thought is laughable now. This man? Silent? No way. He's got plenty to say while he's 8 inches deep. Uther's hearty thrusts punctuate each phrase. Totally fucking infuriating. I am not infuriating. You are. My voice is a ragged squeak. I hear how childish that sounds even as the words leave my mouth. How else can I express myself when I can barely catch my breath while Uther's dicking the brain cells out of me? He rocks into me with the rhythm of a runaway train, filling me, stretching me, and obliterating me. The low rumble of laughter vibrates against my back, even through the layers of material between us. I have the overwhelming need to push him away and tear both our clothes off. I need to feel all that power against me. But that's impossible at the moment, the way he's driving into me with fierce determination. This is about much more than Uther getting off. It's much more than his need to get me out of his system. The way he holds me with steady, gentle hands, the way he buries his face in my hair and inhales, the way his guttural noises are edged with a need beyond sex. Could he have real feelings? Could this thing between us be real? Could there be more between us, between sweat and spit and cum? I need more than his body. I need Uther to understand things about me. As he pounds into me, I tell him the truth. I didn't come up in society either, despite what you assume. He grunts softly against my throat as he pushes up firmly. That's not why I follow you around, Uther. That's not why I look at you the way I do. It has... Oh, gods, you feel good. It has nothing to do with snobbery. His voice is a rattle with the effort. Gods, the stamina. Don't trouble yourself with what I think of you. I need you to know. I don't look down on you. I stare because I see the most beautiful soul in your eyes. Uther pistons his hips harder, but I give back as much as he gives me. You don't know the first thing about me, he rumbles. But I do. At least I know all there is to know based on the media reports and all the Royal Watcher blogs and everything that Princess Flora has told me about him. He's good and pure and built for me. It's as simple as that. Later today, when we've cleaned up and moved on with our daily tasks, my body will remember how perfect this is. I'll be sewing a ball gown for Flora and thinking of him as I sit at my sewing machine. Every press of the pedal will make that soreness radiate through me. I already know this. I know you're a good man. I've seen the way you dote on the Queen and on the Princess. It's enough to make a girl jealous. Uther! I strangle him with my inner walls, my sweat and my essence combining to drip everywhere, but I don't care. You're a fucking trip, little Poppy, he says, now thrusting at a furious pace. And I love it. Uther's powerful thrust is so strong that I jerk forward. The large stone over which I am bent jars itself loose and tumbles over the side of the tower. I scream as I fall forward, but Uther has me. He sets me back on my feet, his arms around my middle. I watch in horror as the large stone tumbles and shatters on the mossy courtyard below. Shit! We broke the castle! I cry. Still buried inside me, Uther trembles. At first, I think he might be crying. I'm so sorry, Captain. I shouldn't have come. He rests his head against my shoulder, and I feel tears soak through my sweater as he bends over me. Gods almighty, I know the man takes his job seriously, but... The snort from Uther catches me off guard. Is he laughing? Uther? I am jostled as this magnificent man throws his head back in roaring laughter. In the end, I join his infectious mirth, both of us still in shock and giddy at what's just happened, as if we're two rebellious schoolchildren who've cut class to do vandalism. When the laughter dies down, I expect him to let go and send me on my way. But instead, he holds on to me, hugging me close. It's not lost on me that he is still buried inside me. I am so full of him, I can hardly keep my knees from buckling. The cold wind batters my face, blowing my hair back into his eyes. Chuckling, Uther smooths my hair down, petting me like a precious pet. I don't know how long we stay like this, but after some time, the winds begin to ease and the grey clouds break up. Uther groans, loud and long. His body stiffens behind me, a massive wall of tense power as he explodes inside me. His final thrusts are slow and deliberate, his teeth catching the fabric of my sweater at my shoulder as if to muffle his animalistic sounds. His release comes in long, hot spurts, his body twitching, and yet his gentle hands never let me go. He is always vigilant, always attentive, and it makes my heart ache. Uther's spasms finally calm, and I reach back to stroke his freshly shaven cheek. He gives a full body sigh, like a prized stallion having a cool down. I know we don't have much time. I know he knows that too, and yet he stays seated inside me, not letting me go. When I catch my breath, I speak. I wasn't chosen to be the palace stylist because of any family connections. My father was a fisherman, and my mother worked as a seamstress. They were killed in the crossfire during the gang wars, and I was taken in by my aunt. She was cruel, and I ran away. I raised myself on the streets in the capital. Why are you telling me this? Uther breathes into my sweater, warming my skin. Because I'm not what you think I am, and I want you to know me. In the distance, I hear car wheels on gravel. Someone is coming up the hill. Once again, Uther's body tenses, and in the next second, he lets me go. I turn around, and he's there, helping me put myself back together, smoothing down my skirt, fixing my sweater, sweeping the dirt off my discarded cape. A wicked half-smirk tugs at his lips as he tends to me. I must look a wreck. Uther, on the other hand, looks as fresh as he was the moment I spotted him entering the tower. A simple graze of his fingers through his hair, and he looks perfect. It's totally unfair. I should let you tend to your queen now, I say, picking up his belt and holster. His eyes shoot me a warning as he takes his things. I could have you charged with crimes for touching my weapons. I roll my eyes, then remember the reason I came here. Well, one of the reasons. Just one more thing. I reach into my bag to grab my tailor's tape, but Uther stills my hand. The look in his eye is fierce. Be in my bed at noon, and I'll give you those measurements you want. But you said... He cuts me off with a feral, claiming kiss. I said, be in my bed at noon, and don't you fucking shower first. Dazed, I blink up at him and nod, sighing. Yes, Captain, I breathe. I stumble away, half expecting him to slap my ass, but he doesn't do that. The silent minder would never. Chapter 7. Uther. I did it. I got the version of the maddening woman out of my system. The Queen has my undivided attention for the rest of the morning. There's only one change in plans. Your Majesty, might I suggest we move the podium? The Queen looks at me quizzically, then, examining the ruins, notices the freshly destroyed stones that have fallen from the tower and turned to dust at our feet. A wise choice, the Queen replies, and I order my men to quickly rearrange things, as if the falling stones were a freak accident and not the result of a rousing game of hide the bratwurst. Queen Hilda delivers her speech at Skelside Ruins without any further incident. The Queen's speech is cut short, however, by a sudden rain shower that sends historians and antiquarians ducking for cover. The press retreat to their cars and news vans. The outdoorsy archaeologists seem unfazed. As for me, I'm equally unbothered. I'm always ready for a storm. Don't like the weather in Gravenland? Wait 5 minutes, because another weather system is right behind the one you're in. Safe under umbrellas, I quickly escort the Queen and Princess back to their motorcade without a single drop of rain touching their hair, nor a speck of mud on their pretty shoes. I'm feeling proud of myself. I've rid my mind of that annoying version of the woman that is Sable. But that doesn't mean I stop thinking about her. She's been replaced in my mind with what she truly is, a delicate creature who cares deeply and loves hard, a force of nature, a broken child on the inside, the same as me, a person who scrambled her way to the top, despite all the barriers set in her way by society. She is softness, she is healing, and she is the most delightfully fierce lover. The view of the North Sea horizon is replaced by woods and winding paths as the royal motorcade makes its way down the mountain. The woods give way to fields and lakeside cottages, and in the distance is the capital city of Arenhammer, with its soaring modern skyscrapers and old-world cathedrals. That is my home. I belong there just as much as anyone else. It's funny, the way a quick rush of chemicals can change my perspective about myself. At least for the time being. But I know in my heart that what happened between Sable and me was not just a chemical reaction. It was cosmic. That went well? The Queen's words snapped me out of my reverie. Your Majesty, is there something you need? Her grey eyes have something maternal in them when she looks at me. No, I need nothing, Uther, thank you. Just commenting that I feel that event went off well, despite the rain. The Queen is not one to make small talk. It's unnerving. This sort of chatter always ends up somewhere, and I have to wonder what it is that she wants. Shit. Perhaps she knows what happened. Maybe she saw Sable in me. Is it possible? Am I fired? A fresh wave of indignation floods me. If Sable is fired, then I'm leaving. The conclusion I'm jumping to is wild. This is what that woman has done to me. She's not out of my system. She's made me even more mad for her. And I'm oddly okay with that. Your speech was well received, Your Majesty. Giving my opinion feels awkward. And what did you think? At this, I'm speechless. Even Flora, the princess, who's been furiously texting on her phone, looks up at the Queen with an arched eyebrow. I thought it was interesting and poignant. Educational. I think everyone learned something today. And did you learn something today? In my peripheral vision, I can see Flora's gaze darting between me and the Queen. I learn something from you every day, Your Majesty. What it takes to be a leader. To my shock, the Queen waves me off with a scoffing laugh. You can stop kissing my royal arse, Uther. A snort from Flora threatens to make me break my professional facade. I learned that we must treasure our history, no matter how broken and faded it seems to be. Now you're just being poetic. Take the rest of the day off, Uther. You look tired. What the hell is this? Yes, Your Majesty. I notice you forgot to give the signal to the drivers. I think you must be overworked. Not at all. I'm perfectly. She cuts me off. For the sake of all that's good in the world, I'm cutting back on your hours. I pause, not quite knowing what she means. If my services have been inadequate, Your Majesty— Not inadequate in the least, the Queen interrupts. But with the way this family is headed, if there's one thing I've learned from raising my children, it's that I've placed too many expectations on them, and we've been asking too much of our staff. Let's face it, this monarchy isn't making laws of any significance. It's time to scale back. Quickly, I mentally search through my contacts to determine if there's a second job I can procure. The Queen picks up on my moment of panic. Oh, don't worry. We're keeping you on. I'll pay you full-time wages if you agree to stay, but also agree to work less. Perhaps since the king passed away, the Queen is realizing she can't operate at the same clip as she always has. Or maybe she regrets controlling every aspect of her children's lives and the fact that several of them no longer speak to her. Whatever it is, the Queen is changing before my very eyes. Very well. I agree to your terms. She rubs her palms together as if washing off the day's hard work. Excellent. That's sorted. Perhaps now that stylist of yours can finally lasso you with that tape she carries around her neck. Gods know you're a difficult one to pin down. The Queen doesn't meet my gaze. She's done with this conversation and instead turns her attention to the quickly approaching city skyline. Flora's shocked eyes catch mine. I struggle to maintain my unflappable presence. The princess bites her lip and returns to whomever she's texting, tapping away furiously on her screen. The long and short of it is this. I'll have more free time for myself, more time for Sable, more chances to explore every whim with her, more opportunities to have my way with her, to fill her with my seed, to see her belly rounded with our children. And I'll be staying employed by the palace indefinitely, which means I'll be able to provide for our children, and even our children's children. The Queen practically decreed it. We have to do this now, I think wryly. I know what people say about me. The silent-minder takes his job far too seriously. Gravenlanders are a relaxed, fun-loving people. The most I ever have to worry about is the occasional drunk reveler getting too close to the Queen, or a tiresome diplomat taking up too much of her time. I approach every moment of every day as if the Queen and the princess's life depends on my vigilance. Better to be too careful than to let my guard down and risk the lives of my staff. Still, what can I do if the Queen wishes for me to work less? The Queen practically decreed that Sable and I end up together, so what other choice do we have? Chapter 8. Sable. I thought I told you not to bathe. I know Uther's words came out rougher than intended. Fortunately, I am who I am, and I take this in stride. I am in Uther's chamber, where he ordered me to be. I waited for hours, so yes, I did bathe, and now I'm perched on the edge of his deep-soaked tub in his private quarters in the palace. I answer with a teasing smile. I didn't think you were serious about that, I say. Cranking off the running water that fills the tub with steaming, rose-scented bubbles, I look up to find a completely naked Uther standing in the doorway. My breath catches in my throat. I'm not prepared for all of this. The barreled chest, tattooed arms, soft swirls of hair across his pecs. So much to stare at, so much to enjoy, just so much. Uther's cock, dark pink and veiny, stands at full mast as he watches me. My mouth salivates. I should put you over my knee. I meant it when I said I could have you in front of a judge by lunchtime. My half-smile expands to a full megawatt grin. Or you could say, "Thank you, Sable, for drawing me a bath." His gaze darts downward to the split in my satiny robe. He says nothing further, but approaches me with a slow swagger, a wicked glint in his eyes. My nipples tighten. Am I going to let him reach down and untie my robe? Apparently so. Will I just sit here and let him push my robe open, let his eyes worship my breasts like he owns me? Yes. Looks like I'll be doing that too. The robe falls away, held up around my waist by the small ties there. I must look ridiculous, but I don't have time to think about that as Uther takes what's his. His rough hands warm my breasts as he takes 2 overflowing handfuls. I swallow hard, willing myself not to grab him and plunge his face between my legs once again. He kneels in front of me, massaging my breasts, sweeping his calloused thumbs over my sensitive nipples. I bite down on my lip. Thank you, little Poppy. The nickname sparks a primal desire that begins behind my navel. It builds when he lowers his head and takes one nipple into that wicked mouth. And when he sucks in long, decadent pools, I feel as if I might slide off the edge of the tub. I nearly come apart when he scrapes his teeth over that sensitive bud. This is so much, so fast. As much as I love it, there are things to be discussed. Uther, I breathe. He pops one nipple out of his mouth and ravishes the opposite one. So slowly, so the opposite of the hurried rutting we did earlier today. The man takes his time, worshipping my body, so much time that I'm trembling with need in his arms. I thread my fingers through his damp locks. Look at you, he croons. All for me. Wouldn't it be a shame to waste these bubbles? I've unlocked something in the silent minder, something deep and wild and unhinged. With a look of pure mischief, Uther steps over me and sinks down into the tub. I smile at the picture of this brutish-looking man covered in pink bubbles. Before I can comprehend what's happening, Uther reaches forward and tugs loose the ties at my waist. My satin robe cascades to the floor, but I don't protest. Neither do I complain when he lifts me into the tub as if I weigh nothing, sending waves of hot water and sprays of pink bubbles flying over the rim onto the slate floor. He holds me against his chest, warm and wet. Smells like you, he says. I smile against the soft fur and run my thumb over his nipple. It's my signature perfume-scented bubble bath. Sorry if it smells girly. I couldn't find anything in this room of yours that was suitable. It smells like you. If anyone has a problem with me smelling like you, I don't care. I can't help the grin on my face as he cuddles me against him. I like you. You'd better. We're going to be spending a hell of a lot more time together. Lifting my head to meet his gaze, I ask, You mean while I make your new uniforms? He smiles. No, I mean you and me. Us, spending time together. For a moment, I panic. Oh no! Did I get you fired? But wait, that's ridiculous. If he were fired, we wouldn't be here, in his personal chambers. He'd be packing, wouldn't he? Or demoted? Chuckling, he says, No, love. We're going to be spending more time together because the Queen fucking decreed it. My eyes blink in confusion. Decreed it? That's what I said, which means we can never break up. It's the law now. I study his face to determine if he's joking, but there's no sign of that. Well, if it's the law, I croon. Under penalty of banishment from the kingdom, he says, I'm yours. Mine, the silent minder, the chief of security, the most eligible bachelor in the palace, is no longer eligible. He is mine, and I am his, mystifyingly because the Queen said so? Whatever, I'll take it and run with it. That's what I do. And then I take Uther's hard length in hand. His low groan fills me with a deeper satisfaction than I've ever thought possible. He fills me with promises and with joy and with unlimited possibilities. That doesn't change the fact that I still have work to do, but that can wait. We have our whole lives, us. This has been Reckless in Ruins by Abby Knox. Read for you by James Amherst.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, lady listeners. I am seeing these pictures you sent me of the Met Gala photos. And yes, the cardigan goes with it. You're right.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Well, actually, she didn't do the full thing because a lot of it is supposed to do the, they're standing, even like some of the girls, if you notice them have weird poses, like they're going like this. It's from that designer. They're standing like them, and they're supposed to actually even have doll makeup on.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like glassy, shiny skin.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And that's the full look, but they thought it was too much. But that's why Kim, even though I'm like coming to her defense here, she was doing, when she was doing her face kind of like weird poses, she was doing the whole image. Like she was posing for the whole piece of art, technically.
Oh, okay. Well, at least somebody was from that night. Hey, so thank you to Abby Knox for bringing us Reckless and Ruin. We absolutely love it. She's another three-peater. I think this is her third time on the podcast too. Did I tell you that Lucy Eden asked if she's going to get a jacket after being on here 5 times, like they do on SNL, where after 5 times you host, you get a jacket? She was like, "Is that?" I was like, "Yeah." On SNL, I was like, "We should do that. We should come up with like jean jackets for the podcast or something, you know?" Where it's like you're in the RMR gang after that.
Yeah.
We're going to have some kind of like pink ladies jacket. That's what we need. We need pink silk jackets. Like like in, what the fuck was that movie's called?
Grease?
Yes. Thank you. Yes. We need the pink ladies jackets. But anyways, thank you so much to Abby Knox for bringing us Reckless and Ruins. Make sure you check the show notes for everything I said. I did mention it, but just real quick, she has, new out. She has Stolen Crown, that the pre-order is up for that now. And make sure you check out her other new release, Filthy Chef, that's out this week. And then get Are You For Real? You can go on her website and get that for free, or you can also get Big Bad Love. It's free this week too. It's free everywhere. And up next week we have, I need a drum roll sound when I do this. We have Kenya Wright with Fatal Lust. And I finally got that cover back from her, and it is so hot. I'm so excited to read this one. So I can't wait. So yeah, fuck your day up. Make stay your bitch. Don't be a dick.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Read me romance. Read me romance. Read me romance.